Part 2, Game 7, Roy Lopez. San Sebastian, 1911. White, J.R. Capablanca. Black, A. Byrne. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop B5, A6, Bishop A4, Knight F6, D3. This is a very solid development, to which I was much addicted at the time because of my ignorance of the multiple variations of the openings. D6, C3, Bishop E7. In this variation, there is the alternative of developing this bishop via G7 after G6. Knight B, D2, castles, Knight F1, B5, Bishop C2, D5, Queen E2, D takes E4, D takes E4, Bishop C5. Evidently to make room for the queen at E7, but I do not think the move advisable at this stage. Bishop E6 is a more natural and effective move. It develops a piece and threatens Bishop C4, which would have to be stopped. Bishop G5, Bishop E6. Now it is not so effective because White's queen's bishop is out and the knight, in going to E3 to defend the square C4, does not block the queen's bishop. Knight E3, Rook E8, castles, Queen E7. This is bad. Black's game was already not good. He probably had no choice but to take the knight with the bishop, Bishop takes E3, before making this move. Knight D5, Bishop takes D5, E takes D5, Knight B8. In order to bring it to D7 to support the other knight and also his E-pawn. White, however, does not allow time for this, and by taking advantage of his superior position, is able to win a pawn. A4, B4. Since he had no way to prevent the loss of a pawn, he should have given it up where it is and played Knight B, D7 in order to make his position more solid. The text move not only loses a pawn, but leaves Black's game very much weakened. C takes B4, Bishop takes B4, Bishop takes F6, Queen takes F6, Queen E4, Bishop D6, Queen takes H7 check, King F8. With a pawn more and all his pieces ready for action, while Black is still backward in development. It only remains for White to drive home his advantage before Black can come out with his pieces, in which case, by using the open H file, Black might be able to start a strong attack against White's king. White is able by his next move to eliminate all danger. Knight H4, Queen H6. This is practically forced. Black could not play G6 because of Bishop takes G6, and White meanwhile threatened Queen H8 check, followed by Knight F5 check, and Queen takes G7. Queen takes H6, G takes H6, Knight F5, H5, Bishop D1, Knight D7, Bishop takes H5, Knight F6, Bishop E2, Knight takes D5, Rook F D1, Knight F4, Bishop C4, Rook E D8, h4, a5. Black must lose time assuring the safety of this pawn. g3, knight e6, bishop takes e6, f takes e6, knight e3, rook d, b8, knight c4, king e7. Black fights a hopeless battle. He is 2 pawns down for all practical purposes, and the pawns he has are isolated and have to be defended by pieces. Rook a, c1, rook a7. White threatened, knight takes d6, followed by rook c7 check. Rook e1, king f6, rook e4, rook b4, g4, rook a6. If rook takes a4, then knight takes d6 of course would win a piece. Rook c3, bishop c5, rook f3 check, king g7, b3, bishop d4, king g2, rook a8, g5, rook a6, h5, rook takes c4, b takes c4, rook c6, g6, resigns.